kind offensive. Listener discretion is advised. Well, now we're done with that shit. Let's start the show. For the victory lap, though. Whoa, whoa. They ain't never seen nothing like this before. Liquor room when I came through the front door. Ask me if I should overcome. What for? Training in the trees, please walk around, sycamore. And it goes a little something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. The Pinball Machine song made famous by the Pointer Sisters on Sesame Street. Keep on counting, keep on counting, keep on counting. Welcome. You are inside the post-presidential election edition of the Digital Gumbo Podcast. I'm your host, Nookie Bishop Jr., joined as always by my co-host, T. Petty and Idris Elbow. T. Petty, it's the Wednesday after. Yes, I don't even know when it is. Wednesday. Wednesday.
Nobody went to sleep. That's what it was.
Wednesday, the day after the election. First and foremost, haven't heard from you in a while. Checking in on you. How you doing today?
You know what? I'm doing pretty good. I love it when I'm right.
Okay, I hear that. Well, I mean, when are you wrong? That's the easier question.
Rarely.
Okay. All right. We'll leave that there. We're going to come back to you in a minute. It says, Idris Elbow, my main man, the clock's turned back. It is now November. Hopefully we can turn back the clock to 2016 when some adults was in the White House. What you feel about that, bro?
Man, I definitely hope so, man. It's getting dark a lot earlier, but I hope it's brighter days for our nation ahead. You know, I got some troubling news the other day, a realization. I think my 6-year-old son is like a secret Trump supporter because he don't want to wear no mask nowhere. We be out in the public. He be yanking a mask off. So I was like, this young undercover Trump supporter. So I don't know what to make of it.
That's crazy, man.
Don't be talking about my nephew like that.
Well, if he don't wear no mask,
come get him.
If he don't wear no mask, he's not alone. Because I done seen plenty of folks out and about not wearing masks. But we'll get into that in a minute. So we sit here on the Wednesday night after the election. The Democratic nominee, Joe Biden, continues to inch closer and closer to the 270 electoral votes needed to win the presidency. He stands, depending on where you're looking at right now, anywhere between 243 and 264 delegates, Electoral College votes, and still waiting for North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and some other states to come in. Most recently this afternoon, Michigan and Wisconsin were declared for Vice President Biden. So, T. Petty, you're our resident political expert. Just take us on what you've been seeing today and your thoughts on last night and hip us to the game.
So last night, I was not stressed. I went to bed knowing that we were not going to have results. And I knew that we would end up where we are today, which is no results, super close race. There was never going to be a blowout. People was on that crack rock thinking that. So it comes down to some of the usual suspects, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. We'll talk about that in a minute. But there's some surprise entrants in here, stuff that I didn't think was going to happen. The only one that I really am super, super surprised about is Georgia. Was not expecting Georgia to be so close that they still can't call it almost, 24 hours after the polls closed. So come through Georgia, black counties only. The rest of you motherfuckers, fuck you. But the blue, the little dots of blue and that big sea of red, Atlanta coming through. It's trending all in the right direction. The votes that are outstanding were the ones that came in early. Those have been favoring Biden by a large margin. Mango would have to have something like a 60 to 70% of those votes to go to him in order to maintain the lead that he has in Georgia, which I believe is like 50,000 votes. How and ever, Biden don't even need Georgia, and he don't need Pennsylvania either. Depending on who you listen to, we're hovering right between 253, 264 Electoral College votes for Biden. Is that right?
That is right.
Check right before we started this.
That is correct. And I
So
see
he
Nevada
doesn't
out
need
there.
either one of those. Nevada's
Exactly.
out there.
Nevada's out there with 6. If I do my math correctly, 264 plus 6 is 270, and we would have a winner.
Yeah, a couple people have not called Arizona for Biden. Others have. The AP has called Arizona for Biden, so I'm going to go with the 264 number. So he just needs Nevada to come in. And more than likely, he's going to win Pennsylvania, too.
Okay. Now, Theresa, I'm going to swing it to you in a minute like a swing state, but let me dare say that I've been checking out the other folks on the FOX network, and they actually have it at 264. Now, what was interesting to me and had your boy cracking up is that they sent a reporter who was white to Atlanta to go inside one of the counting stations. He was the only white person in that counting station. Black people in the back counting votes, in the front, on the side, back and front. They was going to break. They was coming back from break. People that was standing around the monitor, everybody in there in Atlanta that was counting them votes was black. And it was all seniors. I want to give a shout out to the seniors. But the only white person that was at the voting center that I seen, that dude on Fox, he was the only white dude up in there. So I was just like, count on, Georgia. Count on. We counting on you, Georgia. There you go.
Hey, that's the essential workers right there.
Right there. No, they had the bake sale yesterday. Now it's all about the count. Drees, what did you see? What were your observations? I know your home state, South Carolina, went in a different direction. We already sort of knew that the South was going that way, but give us your thoughts on, what you saw and your impressions and where you think this is going to end up, man.
Well, Nook, I was a little bit different than T. Petty yesterday. I went to bed worried. I was like, I turned off the TV and it's like, oh man, my heart was heavy. And, it's like, I'm always like worried about racism. Racism do its best work when you go to sleep. So I was like, man, we're going to wake up in the morning and it's going to be a hot mess. But, fortunately, I think it's starting to kind of break for Biden. I think they really did do a very good job with the campaign where they were able to kind of keep steady and figure out what they needed to do and kind of stick to their game plan. And it seems to be working. And it takes a lot of patience, too, because we have, the states that we mentioned, right? They're still counting votes that came in before Election Day or on Election Day. It's just taking them a lot longer to count them. And that is something that I just find is crazy. So if I was like, if you thought about this as a job, and somebody came in and they gave you an assignment on the first of the month and say it's due at the end of the month, I'm gonna give you all the assignment up front, but you know what? You can't work on it till the last day of the month, and that's when it's due. And you're gonna say, and we wanted to be on time. It's like, no, that's not happening. There's no way that's gonna be on time. But we have states that do that with ballots, right? They get them in, but they don't count them, or they can't count them to the day of. And that's what's taking a while.
So let's talk about that. Because I believe this was part of their fuck-ass strategy from the beginning, right? So their president has been out disparaging mail-in voting for months, right? Laying the groundwork for exactly what's happening right now. So he's saying mail-in ballots are fraud, blah, blah, skippy, blah. These legislatures, even though they're expecting record numbers of ballots being mailed in, they decided to make no changes at all to the rules. So some states got up to 10 times the amount of ballots this election that they've gotten in previous presidential
10
elections.
times the amount.
10 times.
Wow.
So instead of 30,000 or 100,000, they're getting many hundreds of thousands or millions, right, in Pennsylvania, right? So their whole thing all along was to cast doubt on that method of voting, which is bullshit because people have been voting by the mail, especially the military, since forever. Then B, knowing that those votes would skew more heavily toward Democrats, delay counting them. C, now that the polls have closed up, any votes that aren't counted by a certain date, which is also bullshit, are invalid. They're trying to steal the election. We're going to go to court, blah, blah, blah. He's been signaling for months, and now it's all playing out. But it's all bullshit.
T-Petty, that is so...
That's what they've been doing.
That's so crazy that you put it like that. It's like, if my vote got in 2 weeks before the election, that means it sat there. And now because you can't count it fast enough, you're going to just take my vote and throw it out. That just is preposterous to me. That you would even suggest the idea.
But we all know that voter suppression is what they do. High voter turnout is bad for the GOP. So instead of them coming up with policies that people can actually support and also being less racist, they're like, fuck it. We gonna get you niggas and you brown people, get them the fuck up out of here. We'll just invalidate your vote. So make it harder for you to vote. Voter ID, you gotta match up your signature. Felons, nope, y'all can't vote. None of that stuff.
It was a math test on my ballot, by the way. It was simple subtraction, but it wasn't. Ma'am, I swear.
It was a test.
It was like, you know, like that thing. It was like I am not a robot. It was like 2 plus 1. No, it was like 2 plus 1 equals 4, and you had to answer like true, false. Now, I'm saying your boy passed it, but if you ain't paying attention and you hit the wrong button,
get you caught up.
You don't get caught. You got to pay attention. You got get all distractions out there. I'm not saying it was a reading test, but it was a math test. Now, luckily, it was like some simple payday math. You know, these payday accountants were like, if they check is off 17 cents or something at your old job and they went to HR with the problem, you know that person, they might not know their job. They might not even have the necessary skills.
I know my
check.
They
might not even know spreadsheets. But damn it, they know how much they check is supposed to be
the last penny.
Every week or every 2 weeks because they counting on that money.
That's
so
right.
You just got to make sure you block out the distractions. But it was a math question on my ballot. I got it right though, and my ballot got counted and whatnot, so I'm happy about that.
So here's my question for y'all. Joe Biden is going to be the president-elect probably by Friday.
Mm-hmm.
So what happened in this election as the results came in that was surprising to you? I have 2 things.
You said that was surprising about the you mean the results or just the election period?
Well, like specific things that happened. I mean, you know, whatever. You have like the election in general. I don't know what could be surprising.
Well, let me back it up for a minute. I went to bed. I didn't even watch the TV coverage Tuesday night, so I listened on the Eye in the Sky radio app to CNN for the most part. And I went to bed. I fell asleep. I slept like a baby. I was like, just let this marinate overnight. They're going to count what they're going to count. It's not a done deal. So I was good with that. But now I sent y'all that fake ass voting center that they had in California.
Wow.
So
yeah,
I sent it to T-Petty and Theresa. It literally looked like a Chernobyl, like a loading dock, but just like one loading dock, right?
Yeah, and the sign looked like it was made by somebody from the Little Rascals.
It's like vote here.
It looked like the cow
and the E was backwards.
The cow from Chick-fil-A made the sign, vote here. All the E's was backwards. And they said that people, listen, these motherfuckers are slick. You got to watch these motherfuckers. They said not only was they taking the ballots, but they was handing out I voted stickers to motherfuckers that was dropping off the ballots. I'm like, y'all, this is not a legitimate voting center. And the police had to come in and break it up because somebody eventually dropped dime. I'm like, how many ballots did these motherfuckers get before somebody went ahead and dropped dime? What is we doing?
We laughing, but that shit is not funny.
It's not funny.
Just like those fake ballot boxes they had in California a few weeks ago.
I'm like, is these the same motherfuckers that sending money to these Nigerian princes or some shit like that when they get the email talking about they representing the UN and all this and blah, 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 blah.
Don't do that.
The other thing is that T-Petty, I think you know more about this, and then Theresa will kick it to you. So Tuesday afternoon, I get an alert on my phone saying a judge had to step in and have the post offices in 12 different areas come in because they lost the scans for 300,000 ballots. What the fuck? Maybe 1, maybe 2. but you can't find 300,000 ballots. You don't know where the box is. Somebody didn't mark it ballot or something. They lost 300,000 ballots. The story really hasn't been finished as of yet. Hopefully they did find it because of the judge's order. But I'm just like, on election day, you can't find the scan. Now they said he couldn't find the scans for 300,000 ballots. So that means, is the computer file lost? Is the ballots lost?
You know what?
What's lost?
You know what, Nook? I heard about not this particular story, but how they're counting the ballots, right? So I'm gonna lay this out there. I'm gonna answer T. Petty's question about what surprised me. So they are counting ballots, which means they have to hand open the envelope. Then they have to hand open the security envelope there. And in some states, you got to match up the signature and make sure the signature matches with the rolls. And then you have to like flatten it out. It's been creased, and then put it in the scanner, and it scans. Now, when it scans, it don't actually count it right there. It just scans it, and then they take a chip or something, whatever, that has all of them scanned on it, and they take it somewhere, and that counts it. So they must have lost that chip or whatever it is in transport. And that's how they lost 300,000 or misplaced 300,000. So that's just crazy just to think about that system there, which it just has all kind of, possibilities of losing people's vote. Now, and I'm not talking about fraud. I'm talking about just like, messing it up from human error. And the thing, T. Petty, that surprised me with this election, it shouldn't surprise me because I knew this, but it is like how Democratic votes are concentrated in large metropolitan areas and then the surrounding suburbs. And I knew that. I always knew that, right? But just to see the maps for each state and it play out over and over and over and over again, right? It is Democrats are kind of huddled in these, metropolitan areas with large populations, and then scattered throughout the counties are like, Republican, and it's just red everywhere else. And I've lived in majority like red states, red states and swing states, South Carolina and Ohio, and just realizing that I think for me over the past few years, I think I've started to look at people through a political lens, meaning Republican or Democrat, and I hadn't done that before. It wasn't my first orientation to look at folks, and I think that something's about the country where you kind of tend to see things more like that and how divided we are. So that it just fundamentally surprised me. I knew that ahead of time, but it just surprised me how like deep that is ingrained.
Now, let me go through these states real quick. We're not going to say red states or blue states, but they did vote these certain ways. But this is how it turned out. And your thing, Theresa, about these urban centers being blue and the rest of the country being red is spot on. So let me go first from west to east on the quote-unquote red states. Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, Utah, North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, Iowa, Missouri, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida, South Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, Ohio, and West Virginia. Those states voted red. The following states voted blue: Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, D.C., New York, Virginia, surprisingly, was blue, Michigan, thank you, T. Petty, Illinois, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Colorado, Colorado, New Mexico, Arizona, which they're giving to Vice President Biden, California, Oregon, and Washington State. I think Oregon also had an item on the ballot where they legalized a personal amount of cocaine and heroin to be on your person and you not get arrested or be sent to jail for that. I think that measure passed, but
It did.
Texas, it's like you think Houston, San Antonio, Austin, and Dallas are, pretty much urban centers, and those places go ahead and vote blue. But the rest of the sticks in the area in the state just go ahead and vote red. Not really surprised by any individual state. I think Trump will win Ohio and lose the presidency. The vote for this next, his incumbency to move forward for a second term. That was a little bit surprising, but still in play, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Georgia, as we said, the count is going on in Nevada. And again, by some estimates, if Nevada's 6 votes come through, it will not be a gamble. It'll be over 270 votes for Biden. So, T. Petty, your thoughts on going east to west and west to east in terms of the states that are blue or voted blue and states that are red that voted red?
So listen, you know my little my data boo that I've been talking about, my election data boo, Steve Kornicki on MSNBC. If you look at not the states, but when he breaks down the states by county, there is no such thing as a blue state and a red state. There's a sea of red with some pockets of blue. And because of the racist ass Electoral College, those pockets help tip the state one way or the other, right? So
Facts.
we are surrounded by racists who don't give a fuck if we live or die. That's number one. We just got to come to grips with it. We're surrounded by racists. That's just the bottom black ass line.
Under siege.
The sooner you come to grips with that, then the sooner you will never be disappointed by anything that happens in this fuck ass country. That's what you got to know. That's number one. Number two, what? Well, I can't say I'm surprised, but Miami-Dade County, Mango picked up over 200,000 votes in that county than he had in 2016. And it was, I hate when they lump Latinos, Latinx, Hispanics together.
That's correct.
It was specifically Cubans, white Cubans, because white trumps everything else, no pun intended. So there are Hispanics who are white who vote like white people. So even though all the fuckery that he did, they looked at that motherfucker and was like, you know what? He's our guy. Even though he's doing things to actively harm people that look like them. It's some kind of psychosis. I don't understand it. And speaking of psychosis, black men, y'all got some motherfucking explaining to do.
Okay, all right, T. Petty.
Explain to me. Don't interrupt. Let me finish. Explain to me how Joe Biden only garnered 80% of the vote when he had a black woman on his ticket from black men. Explain that bullshit to me. Black men, why do you have to be the white women of the black race? I demand answers.
You
right
said the white women of the black race. All right, T.
Absolutely.
T. Petty, I'm gonna tell you this too, because
Tell me. Better make it good.
It was a strategy. Now I'm not condoning it. I'm just explaining. I think what happened is that it was a concerted strategy by the Trump campaign to say, let's peel off black men from Biden. It wasn't like, let's get them to vote for Trump. It was like, let's sour them enough on Biden to kind of drop the numbers down. And they were able to pull some to the dark side. But I tell you, this is how crazy, like your private data and use of private data to do targeted marketing. I'm on like, YouTube or social media or something like that. Whatever I'm watching something on my phone. And I get a ad from the Trump campaign. Had never seen it on TV before. This is my first time seeing. This is like a day or two before the election. You know what that campaign commercial was?
What?
They had spliced together pictures of Joe Biden from the 90s on the Senate floor arguing for the crime bill. And you know what he was saying that? He was saying like, they're going to attack you. They're going to attack your mama. They're going to hit you over the head. You need to lock up them SOBs. And then they showed these pictures of like 4 or 5 black men that had been, incarcerated. And I looked at that ad and I said, God, I felt some kind of way about it, T. Petty. Now, I wasn't going to like not vote for Joe or vote for
What kind of
Trump.
way did you feel?
I knew it was just propaganda, right? But like, there is a bit of truth always in that. So we know Joe Biden and the crime bill and all that. I know it's just a strategy, T-Patty. I know it's a strategy. But for some black men, I know that worked because it struck a nerve.
So what you're telling me is that these black men are weak?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying...
that's exactly what the fuck you're saying, sir. Because let's just go back to the 94 crime bill, shall we?
All right, let's go back. Wait. Producer E, could you play some time-traveling music to get us back to the 90s? Like some 90s hip-hop?
So 1994, early 90s, crack was ravaging this country.
1994.
Ravaging.
Yep,
Am
I know.
Right?
You right.
People getting shot the fuck up.
Yep.
All kinds of crazy shit was happening.
New Jack City.
Everybody and their mama was for that crime bill.
Including black preachers.
Including
black,
CBC.
Yep, everybody. Yep.
Black leadership.
Yep.
Pastors. Everybody was for that crime bill. Context means everything. So was a crime bill a mistake? Of course it was a mistake. It was a horrible thing, which he has admitted that it was horrible. But don't try to tell me that these ashy elbow Negroes today were worried about the crime bill from 30 years ago and were like, fuck Joe Biden. Are y'all that damn dumb?
I think it's a portion of black men that look at like politics and saying they got it out for us, and you only need another example to kind of push you away from that or sour you on it. And the Trump campaign was using that strategy. That's all I'm saying. But Nook, help me out, Nook.
That shit didn't work on me. I didn't give a fuck about 1994. You giving choice A and choice B like the motherfucking Pepsi challenge. I know what's Pepsi and I know what's Coke. And I voted for Pepsi. Okay, so that's one. But on the real tip, there were reports of fake ICE calls going to certain folks in the Miami-Dade area saying that if you came out to vote and you didn't have your green card or your papers, you was going to get arrested at the polls and deported immediately by ICE. And that shook a lot of people in the Miami-Dade area.
What did that do with black people? Them Negroes wasn't getting deported. They was born here.
I understand that, but
black
if you're going out there to the polls already kind of shaky.
We're talking about the Negroes, sir. We're talking about the Negroes.
We're talking about two things of it. So that's the Miami-Dade thing. For Negro, I can't explain as far as what happened with that.
And then T-Patty, you had all these black rappers out here trying to
Lil Pimp.
Yep.
So once again, did you see any black female rappers?
Oh no,
you did not, because black men are the white women of the black race. Y'all need to get y'all shit together.
Yeah, that's true, T-Patty. I do. We do need to get
y'all
together.
Need to go and talk to these Negroes and get them the fuck together.
Well, me and Theresa gonna get together our own political consulting services for 2024. So we gonna get out the way. We gonna start right now. We got a brainstorming session coming up this weekend. It's gonna be tight.
Oh, I can't wait to see what.
Nook. That's what's gonna be called. Nook Consulting Services. Poland. That's what we're gonna be doing. Poland strong. So yeah, they still got these talking heads on here. I'm just glancing around and seeing what's up. But they said Nevada could be in by tonight, and this could all be a wrap even before the taping of the podcast is done. So one of the things I wanted to talk to y'all about is, again, it appears Biden will be victorious. They really have about 60 days to get this thing together. What I'm concerned about is, one, a clean, bleach, microban, thorough cleaning of the White House from all the Rona people that have been living there.
Look, you was literally saying a cleaning, a literal cleaning.
A literal cleaning. That's one, okay? Because we know that there's that transition period between about 12 noon and 8 o'clock after the inaugural when they go in. But also the vetting of the people that need to come in and sweep the entire White House for electronic, well, they probably got real bugs too, but electronic bugs that's been planted by God knows who, because they parading everybody in and out of there, probably without the right credentials. And I'm just concerned about that in terms of intelligence, et cetera, et cetera. So your thoughts on cleaning the White House, a deep, deep, deep clean. It's going to take an army of people to get that done. But also cleaning for electronic bugs. Could be in the keyboard. Could be in, the little cameras. I mean, people got to go with their phones and the whole 9 yards. And then what type of chicanery could happen with the losing party on their way out the door. They might take all the T's off the keyboards or some ignorant shit like that and take all the light bulbs because they running unauthorized up in there. So, Theresa, your thoughts on that, on this, sort of chicanery and malfeasance that might be happening during the transition should Mr. Biden prove to be the winner in the election?
Look, the thing that I worry about, like for Biden, you know how they traditionally do the sit down in the White House with the president-elect and the president, right? Can you imagine that even happening? One, like, I don't think Trump would do it at all, because he that petty. But, like, if you could imagine, like, if I'm Joe Biden, I don't know if I want to go there. It's like, and all that COVID hotspot,
Biden would go.
And I know, but like, how you gonna protect yourself in there? You gotta go in like in one of them like full body suits, with the oxygen on the back,
like in Contagion.
Yeah,
like Silkwood.
Exactly. So that's what I worry about when it comes to like cleaning the White House, is like going there before the deep cleaning happened. And then Nook, I think you talked about this before. It's like they move the old president out and the new president in the same day. They coordinate, so it's the same day. But how you do a deep cleaning if you moving everybody's stuff out that day and moving somebody's stuff in that day? It ain't no buffer period for no deep cleaning and letting it sit. So that's the other thing I worry about.
You got to take the curtains out. You got to get everything in there almost down to bare bones. Take the furniture out, burn it. Do what you got to do. Get the microban in there. Let that settle for a couple hours. And then spray the new shit when it comes in. The plastic come off. Put that Scotch Guard on it. Put the microban on it. Make sure it's all set. You got to get you some Murphy's oil soap. You got to get you some old school granny ammonia. People, you air it out. You know what I'm saying? So that you know that it's clean. When you go to a place and it's clean, if you smell the bleach, not dirty bleach water. Bleach.
No, you need to get an army of like old school black women. It's like, we about to do a Saturday morning cleaning. Everybody get up.
Exactly. Old black women that clean them wooden churches wooden pews at the church. Those are the people that, if it's good enough for God's house, it's good enough for the White House.
Have y'all seen the staff that cleans at the White House?
No.
It's mostly black women.
See, that's what
So
I'm talking about.
I'm not worried about that.
Okay. Well, thank you. You relieved me. Now, if we can just get some black people to sweep for bugs, going to old. Do they even have old school handsets where like you screw the bottom of the piece off and you talk on the phone? Is that like the rare phone?
They don't, sir. They don't.
With the rotary dial, like your
the rotary dial. They got to check the speakers and the seal.
Foreign governments don't have to do that to spy on this White House because white people's president uses an unsecured phone.
Oh no! Or he dropped secrets when he had meetings with him. When was this back with the Russian? You just tell them all kinds of secrets.
They do regular sweeps for surveillance bugs. The Secret Service is completely competent. I have no problem with that, and I have no problem with the cleaning because I know who's going to be doing the cleaning.
I believe
However, we do have some other issues though.
Okay.
The transition between when Biden gets the electoral votes and inauguration.
Oh, that scares me.
It's not like he's just going to concede. There are already legal challenges underway as we speak. Some just started right before we got on here. So they're trying to stop the count in some states, continue the count in other states. Fuckery and foolishness. So we're gonna have some turmoil, right?
We will.
But thanks to the Electoral College, there's some deadlines in there. And if those deadlines aren't met, states could do some kind of fuckery, like sending a different slate of electors in order to certify the electoral votes. Like, it's all kinds of math.
What kind of crap is that?
Y'all got to do y'all research.
Yeah.
Electoral College is some bullshit and some vestiges of slavery. We need to get it out of the paint.
Wow.
But that's a whole nother discussion.
Yeah, I think there's only 2 states that can sort of split their electoral college votes. I believe Maine
Nebraska
is one of them.
and Maine.
Yeah, see there, I'm on top of it, T. Fatty.
You are.
Your boy know what's up. But I don't have faith in the justice or legal system on certain things, but I believe that everything that would be at stake economically through a peaceful transfer of power will happen, and the lawsuits are going to be what they're going to be. But
Yeah.
you're going to see, even if your boy thinks that he can kick it to the Supreme Court, they're going to kick it down to the state level because it's ultimately the state board electorate that have to go ahead and certify that. And once it's certified, it's certified. You might see a little bit change here and there, but here's the bottom line. Mr. Biden has 71 million plus votes. Your boy Cheeto has about 67 million votes. It's a 3.5 million vote difference. Last time around, it was 65 million votes for Hillary Rodham Clinton, 62 million votes for Trump. So that the vote tally has been surpassed is great. And numbers don't lie. They're out there. It may change a little bit, but as far as this path to 270 is concerned, sir, desperate people do desperate things. You should just get your boxes and your tape and your packing peanuts and prepare to get the fuck out.
But you know what I worry about though that you guys are like not talking about though, if when Biden wins, right, and you have this lame duck president, right, it's just gonna be bananas. And I'm gonna just say one thing on COVID. Just think about COVID. Like COVID rates are rising and increasing, and it's gonna get worse around like Thanksgiving, right after Thanksgiving. And he's not doing anything now, but he really ain't gonna care about it if he done lost. And history has shown, like, you think it would just like stay neutral, okay? It's just gonna be bad, but he will figure out a way to make it worse.
To make it worse.
And
not just about the Rona.
Yep.
About
everything. He'll figure out a way to make it worse because he is.
I agree.
That's
he's
who he is.
Yep. Sociopath.
Yeah, he said he's going to fire Fauci in days after the election, so we know that that's coming. You know that pardons for all kinds of crooks are going to be coming. We know that that's coming. It's really a term of these executive orders, what he would sign to strip away everything, which, if you really think about it, I mean, shit, you done stripped away everything that President Obama put together. There ain't much left there for him to really F up. It may be a couple of, a million here and a million there for some of his buddies and putting some things together. But it's not much left. Like, y'all remember the Pride Lands and the Lion King?
when Scott took over. When Scott took
told
over.
him, don't go there. We already at the Pride Land, so we need to get some reforestation going on and some good soaking rain going on and bring back, after they took the Pride Lands or whatever and washed them away so we can try and rebuild, this country from the inside out. So we'll see what happens.
So let's talk about that.
Yes.
So we've been talking about the presidential election, but we haven't talked about Congress yet. So let's get into that. So first of all, the Democrats lost some seats. They still have the House majority, but the Republicans gained some seats. And the Senate is still in the control of Republicans, which are two disappointing outcomes. So with a Democrat in the White House and a Mitch McConnell-led Senate, it's going to be at least 2 more years of foolishness and fuckery. Redistricting happens this year, so gerrymandering on steroids, right? Especially since the Voting Rights Act, thanks John motherfucking Roberts, it was gutted. So nothing is going to be stopping them from doing things to suppress votes even more. The Democrats still hold the House majority, but the most concerning thing is the Senate. Warnock in Georgia is going to a runoff that's going to be held in early January. So he could potentially, if he takes a seat from Kelly Loeffler, I believe that's how you pronounce her name, and with Kamala, as a VP, she could be the tie-breaking vote. But I mean, it was almost $200 million went to two races. The one, Jamie Harrison in South Carolina and Amy McGrath in Kentucky. And they lost by damn near 40 points. So Democrats need to rethink that whole strategy. And they got 2 years to come up with some good shit. Because the spirit of Trump that has infected the Republican Party, or helped them like come into their own and just embrace their racism full tilt, that hasn't gone anywhere. It hasn't been rooted out. It hasn't been repudiated. And so dealing with the remnants of that bullshit, that's going to take much longer than the 4 years that his punk ass has been
And
out.
T. Petty, the perfect illustration of that, right, is just what Nook said, that Trump received 67 million votes. So 67 million people voted for him.
Absolutely.
So it's
Which
still
means
there.
that they're either racist, they're okay with racism and white supremacy, or it's not a deal breaker for them. And what the fuck are you gonna do with people that think like that? This country is trash. Trash. America's trash. And if another country would have our diseased asses, I would be signing up to get the fuck out of here.
I think Biden hit the nail on the head this afternoon when he had, not his acceptance, speech, but did act presidential. Was a grown up, was a grown ass man, and talked about uniting people, saying that not red state, blue state, but that the president serves all of the people of the United States of America, and where we don't need to look at people who have different ideologies as our enemies. They just think different. So I think that you're spot on in terms of the messaging that needs to happen. And, hopefully President-elect and then President Biden's messaging and his actions will help to get the country back on track.
You think so?
Literally and figuratively. And yeah, you still will have, some folks that, will in these red states just sort of vote, and that's what their tradition is, those types of things. But the young people are coming along. A lot of the old school guard are dying out, and while some people can pass on some racist traits and racist behaviors and racist actions onto their children, I see more and more brown people. I see more and more children and adults who are the products of biracial unions and biracial marriages, and these young people are getting it, and they're starting to come up, and you see all the social media videos where the little white boy, the little white girl is rejecting that ideology, and they going against their parents and whatnot. I mean, it's gonna take time. I mean, it took us a long time to get from 1607 to 2020, and it's not going to be overnight, but it's a gradual thing. And I mean,
Nook.
just how some people in the sticks are. They don't know nothing else.
People in the sticks, though.
It's lots of people in the
It's
sticks.
people
There's
right here in the DMV who think like that we work with. They're college educated. Those motherfuckers are just racist, and that's just what it is.
They are what they are. I mean, it's the 10-10-80 rule. 10 people are going to be A, 10% of people are going to be B, and the people that's in the 80 group in the C, you can kind of work with them. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, 72 is greater than 67. It's a 3.5 million vote majority on, the blue side this time. And again, we just need to just get our shit together. We'll see what happens, hopefully in these first 2 years of the Biden presidency, and see where we go. And all you can do is work hard each and every day. Before you can, worry about what's going on at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, you need to be the president of the United States of yourself. So I do a good job with that. T. Petty, you do a good job with that. Theresa, you do a good job with that. Same thing with our families. So we just have to lead by example, and we've been void of leadership for the last 4 years. So it might not be an overnight job. It might not happen in the first 2 years, but you're going to have an adult there that's going to set the tone with other smart adult people that, in the words of our deceased cousin, Bernie Mac, that knows what the fuck is going on, and really, be able to go ahead and just get the country hopefully back on track. We got a lot of things they need to handle, the economy, this coronavirus, et cetera, but hopefully we get out onto a good first step and take things from there.
Nook,
You have a charitable view of this fuck ass country.
and Nook, I will say, like, I appreciate your hopeful outlook for the country, and I do say I tend to lean that way and share it, but I will say over these past 4 years though, I've become a little jaded. So when Biden says I'm going to be president for all, I think that is what a president should be and he should do. But I also don't want him to use that as an excuse to not exercise power. Because I feel like for the past 4 years, they've been running roughshod over everything. They had power and they did not flinch when it came to using it to kind of push their agenda forward. And I think, Democrats, they got to get comfortable with like using power, because like that's what it's going to take to change stuff. Like you can't just like say we're going to get along with everybody and be here with everybody and just like let stuff ride. You got to be willing to use that power to advance what you think the country should look like and be like. So you can't use that as an excuse not to push things forward.
I hear you. Hey, Speaker Nancy, she's got to get her shit together and get people in line. The vice president as well. Hopefully the vice president-elect, she'll be able to keep things in line. And again, just got to start with a good first step. And, again, given a choice between A and B, I chose A, and A is winning right now. But it couldn't be another 4 years of B. So we'll see how this turns out. T. Petty, just going forward, and Theresa, will wrap it up after I get to you. What do you guys think going forward? You guys going to go ahead and call this 270 for Biden, and then where do we go between here and Inauguration Day?
So Biden's going to get to 270. Like I said, it'll probably happen by Friday. Lawsuits, regardless, they don't really have legal grounds to bring valid lawsuits. So Biden has a very large transition team in place, and he's going to need it because we really won't know the depth of the damage that has been done until somebody else is in there to see the things that have been dismantled, neglected, ignored while they engage in their foolishness and fuckery these past 4 years. So Biden and team are going to have to hit the ground running on Inauguration Day, reconstituting some things, trying to get this coronavirus under control. The economy needs to recover. There are so many things that he needs to get done. And I have confidence that he will pick good people. Like you said, adults will be back in the White House. So that will be good. Remains to be seen what will happen with this McConnell-led Senate, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. So let's go, Biden-Harris. This turned out exactly the way that I thought that it might, and I am ready to move forward.
Gotcha. Listen, I stand corrected. Arizona has 11 Electoral College votes, and it looks like Vice President Biden does have about 100,000 vote lead with about 92% coming in at this point. So that would definitely push him over 270 and give him 275 if my math is correct. So we'll see what's happening. The latest count has Trump leading by 0.1/8 of 1% of the vote in Georgia, 2.427 million to 2.387 million, with 95% of the vote coming in Georgia. So 16 electoral votes coming in for Georgia. So Georgia and Arizona, as the taping of this podcast, should come in tonight. Theresa, what's your final thoughts and where you think we're going, A, as far as the march to 270 is concerned, and then B, where we go between here and Inauguration Day, hopefully for the new president?
Look, my prediction, and you can mark this down, Joe Biden is going to be the next president of the United States of America, and Kamala Harris is Kamala. I know. Kamala Harris is going to be the next vice president of the United States of America, and 1 million black women are going to show up at inauguration. It's going to be
In the middle of the road?
oh yes. Oh yes.
Oh.
It's going to be 1 million black women going to show up. They're going to be masked up. They're going to be 6 feet apart, but they're going to show up for Kamala. They're going to show up. And, okay, so, and my next prediction, now I hate to say this.
Oh, Lord.
I hate to say this.
What? What is it?
But I don't think Joe going to make them 4 years.
Sir.
I know I hate to say this. I think Kamala Harris, Kamala, could be the next president of the United States of America. And I think America would lose their freaking mind.
They'll be all right.
I think that's very possible in the first 4 years. Whether he like something happened and he can't serve. I don't want to wish nothing bad on him.
Can we let this man get
I
into
know.
the White House?
He can get in
After
there.
so much tragedy, let him have this.
I'm gonna let him have
Kill
it.
him off early.
I'm gonna let him have it, but you know he got to go to the White House. It's COVID infected and it's all kind of stuff.
Sir.
I'm just saying. I'm just prepping us. I'm just prepping us
God damn.
for like
Okay,
the first 4
Wait,
years.
I got one last thing.
Yes.
So, the votes that are remaining to be counted. Oh, okay. Well, let's talk about Michigan, my home state. So, Trump was up, right?
Mm-hmm.
The votes that came in that gave Biden the edge came in from where?
Detroit.
Detroit,
The
Flint,
metropolitan centers.
Kalamazoo, black voters.
Yep.
Is
Same
black
thing.
people in Kalamazoo?
Calm down.
I know Derek Jeter's from
Nope.
Kalamazoo, but I mean,
Right,
that's a
right.
white ass song.
Nope.
I got a girl in Kalamazoo.
It's black people in Kalamazoo. I've been to Kalamazoo.
Okay,
There's black people everywhere.
People in the zoo.
Okay, I did not know that. Thank
Same
you for
thing in
enlightening me.
Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh,
Yep.
Yep.
and Philly.
Philadelphia.
Yep.
Yes.
So who has come to the rescue to save America from herself? Once again, black voters. Put some respect on our motherfucking name because we have saved y'all asses once again. You do not deserve. We deserve. I just want to say that y'all owe us. Fuck y'all, pay us. Okay, I'm done.
All right. So my predictions go like this:
The look on y'all faces.
Biden will take Arizona. That will push him over the top with the 275. It's like that's a done deal. So, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, whatever you do, boom, it's a done deal. The lawsuits will happen. We're good with that. They got Joe on, you best believe, health shakes and kale and vitamins. The NIH is probably talking to him already. They're going to do whatever they got to do to make sure Joe make it for 4 years and maybe eight. So everything's good there. On the other side, it's going to be like a perp walk once a day. Cheeto's going to get arrested. Ivanka's going to get arrested. Eric, Ronnie, Bobby, Ricky, Mike, Ralph, Johnny.
That Goya
Boo
Beans
Boo.
guy, the
Goya,
mattress guy,
everybody. My Pillow, he's getting
Goya.
arrested. Everybody's getting arrested. Super malfeasance. And I think the PP tape might come out as well. The PP tape might
What
come
difference
out.
does that make?
No,
Just
because Russia got to finish him off now. He ain't no good to
Exactly.
nobody. They just got to
Maybe
go
he'll
ahead.
get
They got to
poisoned.
go ahead and shut him down.
That's right.
They got to shut him down.
Shame that man. So everybody's getting arrested. Cuffs, the whole night. They're going to put the little trench coat over the cuffs when they get walked, but it's going to be a long list and litany of charges. It's going to be lit up like a Christmas tree. And Cheeto's the type of person that he just might we'll see if he, lives to
suicide? Is that
he
what
might
you was
do it,
gonna say?
might fall on his sword. And God forbid if he do it in the damn White House before Joe takes over. I mean, that's dictator-ish type, dictatorial type of behavior.
You would have a ghost in the White House, a Trump ghost in the White House. That's
I mean,
want Big
slaves built
Macs.
the White House, so it's
Fake
fine.
news. I want Big Macs. I just want you to stop the vote. Please stop I don't know what it is. It's now the Trump bedroom.
it just talks all the time. And he's like, you can't never shut it up.
Please Somebody give me a Big Mac
I
and a
just feel
Diet
like the
Coke.
spirits of the slaves that built the White House would overpower anything.
That's for sure.
You don't even
That's for
have
sure.
enough psychic power to be a fucking ghost.
Do I turn left or do I turn right? Boo, boo, why are you not jumping? Boo, please, I'm trying to scare you. It's Halloween, give me some candy. Yeah, Joe, I like Snickers. I like chocolate treats. They're really delicious. So we'll see what happens. But, we expect to get that news from Arizona soon. And I just think that it's funny that Nevada is in the mix. And, Nevada is the state where you gamble, but it might not be a gamble if they go ahead and put their little 5 or 6 votes down on the blue side. Bet on blue. Don't bet on black. Bet on black, but bet on blue, and then bam. So we'll see what happens. So
Don't bet on black men.
Ma'am, I will not accept this slander. Not
Foul!
Slander.
Blow the whistle. Foul. Throwing a flag.
That's a B. That's a B plus.
I don't accept these.
And as many black males' votes that's got stripped away from all sort of circumstances. I mean,
I'm not blaming them. I'm talking about the ones who did vote.
Okay, well, you can't. I'm not in that group, so I can't speak for them. That's like me speaking for Mandarin Chinese people why they don't like hamburgers.
T. Patty, what did you call them? The white women of the black?
White women of the black race. And I want one of them to explain to me what his motherfucking
what was you thinking?
What was you thinking, Negro? He probably got ashy elbows.
You've been listening to the Digital Gumbo Podcast Presidential Election Wrap-Up Edition. Thanks so much for riding with us. Remember, you can find us on our social media channels on Instagram at the Digital Gumbo. In fact, we tweet streamed our presidential debate #1 show on Twitter. So you definitely want to follow us on Twitter at the Digital Gumbo. You never know when another show will pop up in the night. You can also email the show, thedigitalgumbo@gmail.com, thedigitalgumbo@gmail.com. And we got some holidays coming up, so we'll be here and there. But we'll get another podcast out to you soon. Hopefully, the presidential race will be decided by then, and we'll go ahead and get back to doing our funny shit while we had to go ahead and take care of some political business that we had here in the recent months. Theresa and T. Petty, you guys good?
We're good.
All right, until next time, y'all. That's right. Follow us on social media at The Digital Gumbo. We love y'all. Stay safe.
Peace.
Peace.
Bye, y'all.
Playing the 912.